There's a really obscure secret in Geoland the Dream Traveler where if you click on one of the gravestones in the cemetery bunch, you find a Champion King Sphinx. I don't know if it's MoFun Zone exclusive or not, or what you have to do to get access to it, but you can get some exclusive gear that's even better than the Nightmare gear. This sounds like a playground rumor, but it's real.
I thought I was done with this game, but apparently not. Okay, recap. For my Flash Games retrospective video, I went through and reviewed 7 different Flash games from my childhood. One of these games was Geoland the Dream Traveler, which was one of the more interesting games of the bunch. And part of the reason for that was the Secret Nightmare Quest, which is bookended by the toughest boss in the game, who dropped some exclusive gear that for some reason I was mad enough to get every piece of. But now, it would seem that Nightmare is not actually the height of the Dream Traveler's depravity, as apparently there exists another boss that is even more tough, even more secret, and guards even better gear. So obviously, I can't let this loose end slide, even if it does really bite. Because you see, if the gear is even better than the Nightmare gear, then one would assume that this is also a post-game quest. And well, that would be convenient if I had access to my own completed save file, but I don't, thanks to the death of Flash from a little over a year ago. Which means the only option now is to boot the game up in Flashpoint and start from scratch. May I remind you that this is not a short game. Thankfully, the Flashpoint version has all the exclusive content from the MoFun Zone version, so no worries there. I guess since this is a brand new journey, we may as well give our character a new name. So, given the nature of our quest, let's name him Adam Savage. Oh shit, there's not enough spaces.
Screw it.
Hello everyone, on this episode of Mythbusters, I, Adam Savage, will be busting the myth of the Champion King Sphinx. Like the regular King Sphinx, only much more powerful. So, without further ado, allow me to get back to where I was before. Okay, beat Geom, max level, bunch of items, give me my goddamn trophy. You supposedly initiate the King Sphinx fight by clicking on one of the graves in the cemetery multiple times. Specifically, it's this one, the second one from the top left among the 8th that Tamir is standing next to. If you click it 5 times, it'll accrue more and more cracks, but nothing else happens. So is this myth busted? Well, not so fast. Even though we're in the post-game, there is still one thing we've yet to do. Nightmare. If the gear is better than Nightmare's gear, then it stands to reason that we have to beat Nightmare first. Oh, goody. Okay, you know the drill. Beat all 3 random number generators, reset if you fail, then deal with Nightmare at the end, who becomes the champion version of himself after you beat him the first time.
Alright, enough stalling. It's time for the moment of truth. The Champion King Sphinx. Is it real, or is it a myth?
Oh yeah. It's real. Champion form, level 32, and 50,000 HP, twice as much as what Nightmare had at full power. Honestly, I would expect nothing less. And I know it may sound crazy, but the boss actually isn't all that tough. At least, compared to Nightmare. The King Sphinx does about 400 to 500 damage with a normal hit and no buffs. Meanwhile, Nightmare does 700 to 800 damage without buffs. And furthermore, Nightmare has an attack that both breaks your armor and does massive damage at the same time, whereas the King Sphinx's armor breaking attack doesn't damage you. When your armor is broken, it reduces your defense by 50% in Nightmare's case, and 80% for the King Sphinx, which is when the boss becomes truly deadly. But this can be worked around. You see, every enemy has an energy bar which they can spend to do special attacks, just like you. However, once most enemies deplete their energy, they cannot restore it, and that includes both Nightmare and the King Sphinx. So when their energy runs out, the amount of damage they can potentially do drops considerably. You can mitigate the boss breaking your armor with Mass Shield, which you can just spam until the debuff runs out to avoid taking massive damage. It's also worthwhile to use Absorb, which allows you to steal energy from the enemy to get their energy down quicker. And then once their energy is gone, you just have to deal with their base damage, probably lessened substantially through use of Protection and Enfeeble, plus massive healing from Blessing. Blessing really does make all the difference here, since Nightmare drains your HP way faster than Blessing can heal you, while here it's a bit more even, and you don't have to dip in your stash of healing items quite as often. Now all that's left is to slowly chip away at that massive pool of HP. And be careful, because the King Sphinx can heal back 15,000 HP if it still has some energy left. Classic. Oh well, after a good 12 to 20 minutes, the beast is slain and we are rewarded with a fabled over 9,000 ring. Now what really killed me about the Nightmare gear is that Nightmare drops all 4 pieces one at a time, which not only meant having to beat him multiple times, but it also included the possibility of getting a duplicate item. So what should have been 4 fights to get every piece turned into more than 10. But thankfully for me, the ring is the only piece of gear that the King Sphinx drops, or at least I assume so, since I went ahead and beat the boss 4 more times just to make absolutely sure. And by the way, I did actually go ahead and get all the Nightmare gear again, and very fortunately, I got every piece minus the ring on my first try. So I only needed to fight Nightmare 3 times for this video. Finally, I catch a break. So, what now? I guess Yakov dropped some gear, but it's not like we didn't already know that. Well, I suppose there is one thing left to do. Online, there's an extensive walkthrough of this game detailing quests, items, secrets, and more. And, since everything related to the Champion King Sphinx is absent from this guide, then I shall do the honors of adding it in. There, set in stone. This has been Adam Savog, and I can say for certain that the myth of the Champion King Sphinx is indeed plausible.
Well, that's that. I was really enjoying having to restart from the beginning just to see if this is true, but I realized along the way that games having secrets like this is a real thrill. Like, damn, I almost want to believe that there's even more that I don't know about. But I gotta stop somewhere. Right? I'm done? I get to stop? What?
It's impossible to have mysteries nowadays.
Please keep all of this between us.